Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rachel Cole. Tram has the day off. It's the most significant appeal involving unhoused Americans to reach the Supreme Court in decades, and it's being closely watched by cities and states across the nation, including here in Arizona. This homeless issue in particular has come up in Phoenix, where a county judge ruled last year the city couldn't allow camping and had to clear out its largest homeless encampment known as the Zone. So joining me now for the backstory on this particular case and potential impact it could have on our state is 12 News journalist Erica Stapleton. Obviously, you cover a lot of these particular stories in the Valley. So why are there so many eyes watching from Arizona?
You know, Rachel, this could really shape policy on how cities address homelessness in the western states of this country. And before this Grants Pass decision, before this went to the Supreme Court, there was a 2018 ruling called Martin v. Boise that basically said you can't arrest someone, you can't criminalize homelessness if someone is just sleeping on the streets when cities don't have adequate shelter space. So that's raised a lot of questions, including what is considered adequate. So a decision in this Grants Pass case could help redefine some of that.
And we were talking about some in Oregon in particular where there's religious ties to it, or you have to test properly and be clean, and that creates a lot of problems for some of the homeless too.
Absolutely, and this is not just limited to Oregon. I think a lot of communities are facing these sorts of issues, including here in Arizona. I'll talk a bit about the Zone. You mentioned it earlier, because that's something we've covered extensively throughout the past several years, and where that really became a problem in 2019. So again, after that 2018 ruling that said you can't arrest people for just sleeping outside if there is not enough shelter space, which was the case in Phoenix, you started to see the encampment grow in this downtown area just a few blocks from the Capitol. Again, we refer to it as the Zone. And the city of Phoenix originally would do sweeps where they would clear away the tents, they would move things, and people were complaining that, hey, you're taking my belongings. There was questions about constitutionality about all of that. So they stopped doing it because it was causing concern in that community. But what happened was the encampment grew and it grew and it grew, especially during the pandemic. And at one point, the highest point, there was more than 1,000 people sleeping on the streets. And as you can see out there, you know, I had reported on it.
Right.
There's drug use, there's increase in crime, there's sanitation issues. So
the storefronts were
having
issues.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. So what happened in 2022 was that the people who live in that neighborhood or who work there, the property owners, actually sued the city of Phoenix. Their attorney saying, hey, the city's kind of hiding behind this Martin v. Boise, this Grants Pass, these rulings, saying that they can't really do anything when they're really just letting this problem get out of control. That's their claim. They sued the city and they actually won. So last year, a judge in Maricopa County Superior Court actually ordered the city to clear out the Zone, which is what happened. They ended up moving people into newly created shelter spaces. There's a new campground that's more, structured down the street that they moved people into. And then they also, people have just dispersed. So the Zone, no camping in that area as of now. But obviously this brings up a lot of questions about what cities are allowed to do and how people can really fight against the issues, the greater issues that this is bringing to communities.
Certainly, and we could see policy changes early as June if a decision is made. So we're going to be checking in and out with you on this story as we continue to follow it as it gets updated. Erica, thank you so much.